Created after Taika Waititi's worldwide success and directing his first major film, Marvel Studios' Thor Ragnarok, Jojo Rabbit is a 2019 coming-of-age comedy drama that breaks nearly all cinematic expectations we held as an audience member coming into the film, as it teaches us a lesson that war and violence are never necessary. The film is set in place Nazi Germany during its last fading days of World War II, and starts with the misguided yet idealistic die-hard Nazi fanatic Johannes Belzer, aka Jojo, a 10-year-old German boy who literally yells "Heil Hitler" to everyone he sees on the street and whose imaginary friend happens to be Adolf Hitler. Yes, Adolf Hitler. Living with his mother Rosie, a woman who is secretly against Hitler and the Nazi Party, Jojo is sent to a Hitler youth camp, where the young men learn to throw grenades and young women learn the importance of having Aryan babies.
It's 18 kids for Germany. Such a great year to be a girl.
Alright.
Excited to possibly be sent to fight in the war front, Jojo is gravely injured and physically scarred in the youth camp. As he is encouraged by Hitler to prove the other kids wrong and unknowingly throws a hand grenade, which blows him up.
Shit.
Don't do that.
Left with scars and depressed after being kicked out of the Hitler Youth militia group, Jojo, with the assistance of his mother, is brought back. Not technically, but for Jojo to feel included. With that, Jojo is given an array of random jobs that include hanging Nazi propaganda posters around the town and collecting scrap metal for the war effort. Alone at home, Jojo searches around his house and finds a secret compartment, where he discovers Elsa, a Jewish teenage girl. Appalled that his mother's assisting Elsa, the two are left in a stalemate, as Rosie's life is in a threatening situation, as she can be killed for these crimes, which is something we saw early in the film between Rosie and Jojo.
What did they do?
What they could.
Since neither Jojo or Elsa are willing to tell Rosie that they know, for the fear what could happen to Rosie, the two become familiar with each other, where Jojo hopes to uncover Elsa's Jewish secrets so that he can write a book about Jewish people for the leader of the Hitler Youth militia. But while doing so, Jojo is confronted by his blind nationalism and is left to confront everything he wants to know and become his own person. The film is known for its juxtaposition of comedy mixed with serious subject matters, as it leaves its audience with the message that hits home harder, as we are left with the feeling of sadness and severity with greater impact of having just laughed. The film not only surprises us with its beautiful use of color saturation and detail to background, but in its way it depicts human emotions and trauma, especially as we literally watch Jojo grow up in Nazi Germany and learn what is truly right and wrong. But what is most impressive and beautiful in this film is in no doubt its mise-en-scene, as small details in the film are showcased and bring us emotions every time we see the movie once again. So in this video, I will be analyzing the mise-en-scene from a scene in Jojo Rabbit and how small details make big moments. The settings is the open space of Jojo's town center, as we see Jojo walk through his town and witness the ramifications of the war/Nazis on Germany, as it is nearly destroyed and become a war ground. The scene gives the audience a sad, mournful feeling as they literally see Jojo's town on the midst of crumbles. The scene only makes it much more daunting as we all know how the war ends. While at the same time, the scene is exactly what director Taika Waititi wanted to do, show a mixture of comedy and drama.
Always a challenge making a film that has a mixture of comedy and drama. That just sort of testing it again and again until you feel like there's a tonal balance that, where it's not making light of these serious subject matter, and it's not just like a full-on drama.
As we see the view of normal citizens in Jojo's town learn to use guns, preparing for the war that they will lose, something else we see is the Nazi propaganda posters that Jojo had originally hung up, as like him/his Nazi beliefs, they are all nearly falling down and just barely pulling themselves together. Although the area is quite plain and empty, the director wants us to focus on the walk Jojo has through his town, as like him, it is leading us to the ultimate gut punch, his mother's hanging body at the gallows. The dark, dim lights in the scene are used to showcase the shift in tone of the film, As unlike the early colorful bright lighting we saw with the scenes that matched with comedy, this scene is dark as we basically see Jojo become an orphan. The film embraces using color to show the passage of time. As the film events in the film grow darker, the color follows too. Or as Mahai Malamir Jr., the DP of Jojo Rabbit said, "We realized showing so much colors from the start that we could shift the tone later on when things become more bleak." But as the scene switches to Jojo seeing the butterfly, a very common motif in the film, we see a sudden use of bright lights as Jojo starts to follow it, which is important as director Taika Waititi wanted to use butterflies to show important moments for Jojo, which is certainly what he did, as the butterfly leads Jojo to his mother. Costumes used in the scene are very important and symbolic, as Jojo, for once in the whole film, is not wearing his Nazi uniform. He instead is wearing civilian clothing, as like the posters I mentioned earlier, his Nazi beliefs are nearly falling down. Though the most important use of costume in this scene is in no doubt Rosie's shoes. Because if we go back into the film, the first thing that we are always reinforced whenever we see Rosie is her red shoes. So while we never see Rosie's face to confirm it is indeed her, we know it is her from her shoes. The acting in this scene is in no doubt stellar and vital to the mise-en-scene of this scene. Jojo's surprised face when he first comes face to the red shoes is heartbreaking, and as the camera has a close-up of his face, we witness Jojo's look of despair as he realizes it is indeed his mother, to where he just runs to hug her legs as he is too short to get her down. But the most heartbreaking part is in no doubt watching Jojo attempt to tie his mother's shoes and fail. It truly sets the perfect example of a sad parent's death, as Rosie, Jojo's mother, was still teaching him how to tie his own shoes, and was shown multiple times in the film as a bonding moment between them. All in all, director Taika Waititi wanted to remind viewers that it is absolutely necessary to keep reminding ourselves of the events of World War II, and also that wars/violence are absolutely something that must be avoided, and that if we stop telling these stories, that there's a danger that we'll forget these events and allow deeper danger to repeat themselves. Which is what he does beautifully through his mise-en-scene, as we literally watch Jojo lose the most important person he had while learning such a big lesson.